God's activity is will. So this is Hermes and the Corpus Hermeticum, just epic notes. I'm just going to be taking quick clips from book 10 here. And it started off with nature. Qualities of nature is to increase and decrease and change. There's nature and then there's activity. And activity, so nature is part of the material world, but activity is part of the divine world, or the unmanifest world. So God has activity, and his activity is to will.
And his essence is to will all things to be. For what are God the Father and the good but the being of all things, and of things that are no longer, at least the very substance of their existence? This is God, this is the Father, this is the good, to whom nothing else belongs. For the cosmos, as also the sun, is itself the father of things that exist by participation, but for living things it is not also, equally with God, the cause of the good, nor of life. But
Hermes' cosmology, or creation, is the all, or God, gave birth to the cosmos, which gave birth to living beings, or the soul. And the cosmos is the arrangement within God, per se. Wow. This is talking about observing the creation. When you understand, when you commune with the invisible world, right? And you see God's workings, the good manifesting in all things, right? And you understand this higher picture, you see the monad in all things.
still too weak now for this sight. We are not yet strong enough to open our mind's eyes and look on the incorruptible, incomprehensible beauty of that good. In the moment when you have nothing to say about it, you will see it, for the knowledge of it is divine silence and suppression of all the senses.
#yoga. That's what yoga is for. The withdrawing of all the senses until you are residing and identifying with the seer. And from there, you can commune with superconsciousness, in that divine silence. That's what yoga is. This is why Hermeticism is at the foundation of even things like yoga.
One who has understood it can understand nothing else, nor can one who has looked on it look on anything else or hear anything else, nor can he move his body in any way. He stays still, all bodily senses and motions forgotten. Having illuminated all his mind, this beauty kindles his soul, and by means of body draws it upward, and beauty changes his whole person into essence. For when soul has looked on the beauty of the good, my child, it cannot be deified while in a human body.
Everything up to this point is the essential understanding of what Gnosis is. This is what Gnosis is when you can fully illuminate your mind with the truth, with the incorruptible, with the invisible world, right? When you can fully bring your mind online. A really profound part of this book of Hermes here is the first opening lines are similar to that of Thoth and the Emerald Tablets. And it's saying that I was lying there with my body heavy, right? Almost like your body asleep, but my mind awake, soberly contemplating the cosmos and creation, right? And then the cosmos spoke to him through poiandries or something, right? Essentially this great vision dawned upon him, but his body was heavy, all of his senses withdrawn, fully energized and engaged in illumination, not really thinking, but understanding, perceiving, It was the foundation of Gnosis right there. So this whole video is on what is Gnosis. Wow. This next part is profound. On the evolution or de-evolution of the soul and immortality, and how Gnosis is the key to immortality. But immortality must be earned.
Emotions forgotten. Having illuminated all his mind, this beauty kindles his soul, and by means of body draws it upward, and beauty changes his whole person into essence. For when soul has looked on the beauty of the good, my child, it cannot be deified while in a human body. Deification, Father, what do you mean? The changes that belong to any separated soul, my son. What do you mean by separated? In the general discourses, did you not hear that all the souls whirled about in all the cosmos, portioned out as it were, come from the one soul of the all? Many are the changes of these souls then, some towards a happier lot, others the opposite.
So souls progress one way or the other, right? Listen to this next part.
The snake-like change into water creatures, the watery change into things of dry land, the dry land souls change into winged things, the aerial into humans, and human beings changing into demons possess the beginning of immortality. And so then, they enter the troop of gods, which is really two troops, one wandering, the other fixed. And this is soul's most perfect glory. But if a soul that has entered into human remains vicious, it neither tastes immortality nor shares in the good, but turns back and rushes down the road toward the snakes.
Wow. So the winged things are a degree of consciousness beneath the human. And when the soul transforms and evolves into the human form, he gains reason and mind, right? The thing that separates us. And as the human, how he uses those things determines if he goes up or down. If he remains vicious and carnal in his carnal nature, in his mortal nature, he will descend downward, right? If he rises towards his immortal nature, he will ascend upwards until he is perfected. The most perfected state of the soul is demonification in a way. And demon to the Greeks is daemon, which is actually just an angel in a way, or a god. You know, it's positive and negative angels, and yeah. And of the daemons, there's fixed angels and there is roaming angels. And this is very interesting. The fixed angels to me are like part of the hierarchy of God's will. So they never had like individuation. They never had their own will to speak. And then the roaming ones, perhaps, are those who have ascended from earth, those who have maintained their individuality and serve God's plan willingly. You know, it's like the next level. It's the perfected initiate. So interesting. This is also reflective of Gnosticism and Kabbalah, where there's a line of thought and philosophy of having like 108 incarnations, right? And you're either ascending through the tree of life or you're descending through the tree of life. And if you're descending, your soul is slowly, you know, acquiring more and more karma, where it eventually has to purge it all in, basically in purgatory, right? Before it's recycled, and that soul is tried again through all the incarnations and evolutions.
And this is the sentence pronounced against the vicious soul. The vice of soul is ignorance. For the soul, when it is blind and discerns none of the things that are, nor their nature, nor their good, is shaken by the bodily passions, and the wretched thing becomes, in ignorance of itself, a slave to vile and monstrous bodies, bearing the body like a burden, not ruling, but being ruled.
This is the foundation of Hermetic sovereignty. This is the core philosophy of everything. You know, ignorance is the vice of soul. When a soul is ignorant, he cannot perceive the good nor understand reality or anything, and therefore is easily moved by sensations, by distractions, by drives in the body. He is not ruling the body, but reacting to life. Never ever coming to being at the cause of life. He's not seeking self-mastery, right? Ignorance is the vice of soul. And when we're ignorant, we have no idea where to fix ourselves. Therefore, we're easily moved, right? And when we're ignorant, we can't be in reverence. We can't be in reverence of the good or of the truth. And therefore, we will never move the truth. We would easily just be moved by the animal nature and therefore descend towards snakes. Next part.
This is the vice of soul. The virtue of soul, by contrast, is knowledge. For one who knows is good and reverent and already divine. Who is this person?
One who knows is already reverent, right? As your wisdom and understanding increases, it's like when shit happens in your life, even bad things, you're already understanding why God willed this. Why is this happening in my life, And accepting it. Dancing through the highs and lows. No longer succumbing to the laws of rhythm, This is why knowledge is the virtue of soul, because one who has true knowledge, or gnosis, this is Hermes would be speaking in Greek and using the word gnosis right now. And one who has gnosis, right? Therefore is reverent. He's reverent in all things he does because he sees the greater scheme behind it all.
Father. One who says little and hears little. He fights with shadows, my son, who wastes time on talking and listening to talk. One neither speaks nor hears of God, the Father, and the good. This being so, that there are senses in all things that are, because they cannot.
Alright, that's all I got for y'all. It's immortal truth, the truth that was, that is, and that will be. Book 10 of the Corpus Hermeticum, Hermes Trismegistus. Check out my last video, Gnosis, the Path to the Stars, and other, notes I have on immortal truth, taken on the Corpus Hermeticum. This is such a fantastic book for those who have eyes to see and the ears to hear. Peace out, my friends.